Ellen Simonsen, and I am thrilled about today's conversation because you're going to be meeting or seeing again Ellen Allard. She's a good friend of mine. We met on, well, social media. She saw something of mine. I saw something with hers. We began to chat. She probably reached out first because she knows how, and I don't. And she lives in Boston, and yet she came out here to Southern California. Oh gosh, an hour from my house because some relatives were here, and we met here in Southern California and dined together. And anyway, there's a story there, but let me introduce you to Ellen Allard. I asked her to tell her story, her whole food plant-based story, to tell about her evolution into becoming such a influencer. And she primarily is found on Instagram, whereas I am primarily found on YouTube. So we're both sort of showing each other the ropes in these two venues. And Ellen, tell them about yourself. I'm going to give you the screen and I'll be in the little side corner so that people can hear me. But tell them about yourself. Tell them anything that you wish you had in any other interview so it can be multi-directional. And then she has something she's going to show you that she cooks for you. And I'll come in with any questions that I have. So let me take a corner view and take it away.
Well, first of all, the biggest thank you to you for inviting me to be on your show here. I am delighted. I really feel blessed that we met when we did, and we have become friends. And I am a very, very big admirer of you and your work. And your book has a permanent place on my nightstand.
Oh, well, let me tell you what that's about, people. I wrote Aging Powerfully 6 months before I turned 70, because at first I thought, I'm turning 70. Oh my gosh, it's the beginning of the end. And then I realized, because I'm part of Lifestyle as Medicine, Lifestyle Medicine Health Coach, and I see remarkable, I was going to say recoveries, but why don't I just say prevention of disease and then recoveries if we weren't there in time to prevent it. And I realized, no, I'm in control of this. And if you pay attention to long-lived people, and one easy way to do that is to pay attention to the blue zones and radical recovery. Another, Dr. Kathy Turner wrote about that. You realize that we have so much to do with our own longevity and living with power. So I wrote this at 70. I'm now 73. I still feel that I'm aging backwards. I started this whole journey in 2018 as a plant-based person and then a lifestyle medical coach in the beginning of 2019 in January. And I've gotten stronger and healthier and better. And here it is almost 6 years later. And I feel the best I've ever felt. So that's the book, Aging Powerfully with Nan, a bit memoir because there's some stuff in there, and then including an eating disorder for decades. And then there is lifestyle modalities that I click off the importance of every day to remind myself that there is more to aging with power than just food, and in my case, fully whole food plant-based, which is recommended by the College of Lifestyle Medicine. But in addition to that, there are other things, and I don't want to take up any more of Ellen's time. And I didn't tell you this, Ellen, but you look so pretty. Ellen, to me, Ellen has an ethereal look with that soft hair and the soft clothes. I just think she looks ethereal. I tend to be hard edges from the hair to everything else. And yeah, you look lovely. So go ahead, talk.
Thank you. How many times have I texted you and said, where did you get that shirt? I love it. So, I think what I'm going to do, since you mentioned my ethereal look, I think I'll start with my hair. And not that this is a hair story, but the hair has something to do with it. In 2005, I was diagnosed with alopecia. And the reason I was diagnosed was because my hairdresser said to me, something's going on with your scalp and your hair. You need to go get it checked. And I didn't know it because it was back here behind my ear and also back in the back of my scalp. And so I went to see a dermatologist. And my friends, this is a reminder to you to advocate for yourself. You don't always have to stay with one doctor. So this doctor, who's a dermatologist, said to me, just stop worrying and your hair will grow back. And I said, what? That's not an acceptable answer. I'm sorry. So I went to a second dermatologist. And guess what that dermatologist said to me? Stop worrying and your hair will grow back. Well, I still wasn't happy with that answer. So I went to a third one. This time I went to the top person, dermatologist at UMass Medical Center in Worcester, Massachusetts. And he did some hormonal tests on me. And while I was in the waiting room, he did the tests. He came out and brought me back in, for the follow-up. And he said, you have alopecia. And I said, what? I had no idea what alopecia was. And come to find out that it's an autoimmune disease that attacks your hair follicles. You can have it all over your body. You can have it where it just does your spots, like circles, almost like a quarter. And you can have it around the perimeter of your head, or you can have combinations of it. I apparently had sort of a combination because I had a little bit behind my scalp that was working its way up, and I had some back here. So I said, okay, well, now what do? I don't want my hair to fall out. So he said, you can have multiple massive shots of cortisone in your scalp, and it might work, but it also might not work. And it might work, and then it might fall out again. So I said, let me think about this. And I don't think I got into the car, and I said, no, I'm not doing that. I started researching, and I finally, 6 months later, found a book called Dangerous Grains by Dr. Ron Hogan. And in that book, he contends that autoimmune diseases can be traced back to gluten. So gluten, ding, 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 ding. I called up one of my three sisters, and I said, she lived 1,500 miles away in Florida. I was up in Massachusetts, and I said, don't you have like something with gluten? And she said, yeah, I have celiac. And I said, oh my God, I did some research, and it turns out that celiac is genetic. If it's in your family pool, you can potentially have it. So I went and got in touch with my internist, who at the time, this is 2005, right? That was almost 20 years ago. Things were not the same then as they are now in terms of an awareness about celiac. I mean, the doctors knew, but the public didn't. And I said, my sister has celiac. I know it's genetic. Can you test me for it? And so she did. And she sent me a form letter saying, you have celiac, stop eating gluten. And that was it. So I stopped eating gluten. And within a couple of years, it took time. I actually took progress pictures of where my hair was missing. And within a couple of years, it grew 80% back. And then it stopped. And I still have a bare spot back here and in the back. And I credit going gluten-free with helping my hair grow back. So that was the beginning of really my awareness of the connection between food and health, and food, and in my case, an autoimmune disease. And so that was sort of step one. And then fast forward a few years to 2011, I went through a very difficult time in my life. I went through a tough divorce, and I knew that I needed to do something radically different. So I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I got a degree, a certification, not a degree, but a certification in holistic health. I wanted to be a coach. And I did that for a few years. I loved it. I still do. I love health coaching. And that was sort of the next step up, because I became aware of being vegan. And before that, vegan was weird. I wasn't going to be a vegan. That's weird. But I became much more aware of it. And I started sort of dipping my toes in it. I wasn't really whole food plant-based. I was more just vegan. And I did that for a few years. And during that time, and this is an important part of the story, one of my sisters, the one who has celiac, had a heart episode. She ended up having 2 stents put in. And I was right in the middle of my Institute for Integrative Nutrition program. And she called me up and she said, "Okay, Miss Smarty Pants, tell me what I need to do now. You're in this health coaching program. You can fix me." So I said, well, they gave her tons of, a list as long as my arm of medications, no information about lifestyle, zero, none. I mean, it's almost borders on criminal. And I said, okay, well, I've just read Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. And I just read the China study, which happens to be right here on it's like one of my Bibles. And I said, just go read them. And when you're done, call me. So like 3 days later, she called me. She totally devoured both books. And she overnight became vegan, whole food, plant-based, no oil, already gluten-free. That was already a given. And she just went from, in Yiddish, I'm Jewish, in Yiddish, which is the language of my ancestors, the word for a very accomplished cook is balabusta. So my sister was a balabusta. She still is a balabusta. And she changed the way she cooked. She went from eating primarily cheese and butter and chicken and meat and all the stuff that we grew up eating. She gave it all away, stopped eating it, and she went whole food, plant-based. So she's really a big part of my story. So I did that for a couple of years. And then I had a little bit of a blip. It happens. I met the man of my dreams. I swore when I got divorced, I was done. I was done. I did not need a man. I did not need a partner. I was fine on my own. I was going to grow my own strength and my own courage. Didn't need it. And then I got set up on a date. And it took a little while, but I fell in love. And in falling in love, I started going back to the way I was eating before, which was a standard American diet, because that's what he ate. And not only that, I wasn't a drinker by any means, but he had a cocktail every night at 6:00. So, it would be like, it's time for a cocktail. And I started having cocktails every night. I would have a gin and tonic or a Moscow Mule. I was happy as a pig in you know what. And I put on 20 pounds over the course of about 2 years. And then when I woke up from the stupor of being in love, I stayed being in love, but I said, I can't do this anymore. I gave up the drinking and I started poking around, and I found, or I should say, I refound Chef AJ. And I found some other people who were very impactful for me. Dr. McDougall, again, Dr. Esselstyn, just a whole list of people. And I started paying more attention. And I said to him, that's it. I'm not drinking anymore. I'll attend your party every night, but I'm going to be having water or juice or something else. And I just went totally whole food, plant-based, no oil. And I've not looked back. And that really was in about, I want to say it was like sometime in 2018 and right before the pandemic. And I can't say enough about it. First of all, the 20 pesky pounds that I gained from being in love, I lost, I gained, I lost, I gained. I went on Weight Watchers. I went on Bright Line Eating. I went on Whole30. If there was a diet, I tried it. And I hated it because I was always limiting what I could eat. And I was hungry all the time. It was ridiculous. I'd go to bed hungry. I'd wake up in the middle of the night hungry. It was not sustainable. And so I would lose weight, gain weight, lose weight because I was determined. Then I'd put it back on. And finally I said, I can't do that anymore. I have to find a way to eat that's going to not make me hungry all the time. And whole food plant-based was it. I lost the indigestion. I had horrible indigestion all the time, which as a singer, which I am a full-time musician, as a singer was terrible. And I dropped the last 10 pounds. And I looked, do you know what the word svelte is?
Oh, yeah.
I'm svelte. You can't see it because you can't see me from here down, but I'm svelte.
I
look pretty damn
svelte. You
Huh?
are svelte. I said, I've seen you and you are svelte.
I'm svelte and I feel great. And I'm 69 years young. And so I'm going to sort of go full circle and tell you with a hair piece was that I decided to stop coloring my hair about 3 years ago. And it was a tough decision. When I decided to do it, I said to my hairdresser, you cannot let me go back. No matter what I say to you, you cannot let me go back. And I can't tell you how many times I would go in for my haircut and I would say, I can't do this. Just color it. And she would say, nope, I'm not coloring it. You told me not to let you. And so it took about 18 months or so, but my hair is now this is all gray. And it almost looks a little bit, I think, highlighted just because of the nature of the dark and the light. But I feel like I have birthed a whole new person.
Yeah.
And that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. I love life. I also... Wait,
Well,
that's the back of it. Hold on, that's the back of it. That's
tell them the background to that if you'd like.
Yes. So I got married. I got married 5 weeks ago, and we had been talking about it for a long time, and we just decided to do it. And we decided on a Wednesday to fill out the marriage license. We downloaded it from Gloucester City Hall. We're in Massachusetts. We filled out all the paperwork. We sent it in, and we knew that we had to wait 3 business days. We actually had to go in with it to the office, to the city hall. And then we had to wait 3 days. So that with 3 business days would have been, right, we did it on a Wednesday. So it would have been Thursday, Friday, and then Monday. And so Thursday, Friday, Michael, we wake up and Michael says to me, you know what, we have to go in on Monday to get the paperwork, because he had to go to physically get it. And he said, let's just get married while we're there. And I was like, okay, that works for me. So I wore jeans and kind of a nice sweater. He wore jeans and kind of a nice sweater and shirt. We stopped at this really cool, funky florist's on the way there, and he bought me a beautiful, I forget what it's called, but it's like a beautiful bouquet of flowers. And the day before, actually, on Thursday or Friday, I can't remember, one of our friends who lives in the area called just to see how we were doing. And we told her that we were getting married on Monday. And she said, well, who's going to be there? And we said, the Justice of the Peace. And she said, no. That's crazy. You need to actually, I'm coming. And she was in Boston at her apartment. So she drove an hour up to Gloucester, and she walked into City Hall with a huge bouquet of flowers. So I have 2 bouquets, the one that Michael bought me and the one that she brought me. And we went, and one of the fun parts of the story, I'm like chatting. But one of the fun parts of the story is that Michael queued up, unbeknownst to me, on his phone, Paco Bell's Canon, which is a classic wedding, walking down the aisle with the bride. And he queued that up on his phone. And he also queued up Signed, Sealed, and Delivered by Stevie Wonder. And so we stood on the floor, because we went up on the stage to actually do the ceremony with the Justice of the Peace. She was a city clerk, basically, who did weddings. And we walked up the stairs to Paco Bell's Canon. And then we walked down when it was, and in the middle, our friend, we didn't need a witness, because in Massachusetts you don't, but she was a witness, and she read 2 poems for us. And then when we were done, it took like 2 minutes. I pronounce you man and wife. We, husband and wife, we kissed. And then we walked down to Stevie Wonder's Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, which I have a little video clip of. And we're married. And as if that weren't enough, another fun piece of this ring is that we went to the jewelry store, I think the week that we decided to get married. And I picked out a ring. He and I picked it out together, and I loved it. And it was very similar to this, but it had 10 stones. And Michael said, we've known each other now almost 8 years. Let's make it 8 stones. I'm like, you're going to take away 2 diamonds? Are you kidding? But I was okay with that. So we decided to let the jeweler fix it so that 2 of the stones were taken out. And that was it. So we went home, and a couple of days later, I think it was the Saturday before we got married, of that weekend, I woke up like in the middle of the night to pee. Doesn't everybody who's 69 wake up in the middle of the night to pee? And I woke up and I said, oh my God, my mother, may she rest in peace, left me jewelry. And I never took it out of the box. I took it out to look, but I didn't do anything with it. I took the jewelry out when I woke up in the morning, and I said to Michael, I know that you're willing to, he was going to buy the ring. And I said, instead of buying me the ring, can you please let me use the diamonds that my mother left me? And he was totally okay with that. So we took those diamonds to the jewelry store, and we had her examine them I didn't really know if they were diamonds, but all of them were diamonds. And I said, let's pick the 8 best diamonds and we'll use those. So that's what my ring is. It's my mother's, may she rest in peace, my mother's 8 diamonds. And the jeweler had this made for me. So it's just a beautiful, and she put a guard on it because it was a little bit loose, but This is it.
That's just beautiful. Well, and I also want to say you've been with Michael since 2014 or around then.
We met in November of 15, and then we started really dating like in March of 16.
Okay. But you have been, as far as your friends are concerned, basically married because you've been together. But right? Yes. But what we hear, are you gonna put a ring on it? You gotta put a ring on it. You got your ring on it.
Right. Right. Yeah, and actually I would just in some of the banter that we would have, if he would ask me to do something, I would just say, if you want me to do that, put a ring on it. So after we got married, he said to me, you can't say that to me anymore because I put a ring on it.
That's very sweet. That's very sweet. All right. So now you know this woman basically intimately. And we're here today to promote the bundle, and we're here to show you why you might want to have it. Why don't you tell them what you have in the bundle? But before you do, when you were talking about not drinking and not having the cocktails, I was thinking of what Tim and I do every night. And that is, and we can't wait for it. We like it so much. There was a point that he decided, I'm not going to drink anymore. He was having, well, I've been with him 12 years, and he was having a half a bottle of wine a night. That's not good. But he's an attorney, CPA, came home stressed and thought he had to. And then I tricked him. We were going on a almost 2-hour drive, and I put on a Dr. Andrew Huberman, who is a neuroscientist, neurobiologist, ophthalmologist. And he was talking about alcohol and what it does to the brain and what it does to the memory. You don't mess with the memory of somebody who does that kind of intricate work Tim does. Well, I had that on. I had that playing. And by the time we got home, he said, well, I think I'll cut back on my wine. And so he cut it back to 1 glass a night. And he saw the difference. That's the point. Within maybe a week or two, he said, I think I'll stop drinking. And that
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
that was in the fall of last year. So it's been a year and, well, almost a year and a half. Well, we have mocktails every night, and it's the simplest thing. Chef AJ talked about it. We split a can of Spindrift, and Spindrift is just bubbly water with fruit, no
We
sugar.
just got some yesterday. We bought a whole pallet of it.
Well, I've tried the different flavors with this, and I like the mango the best. We split a can of mango over ice, put in a tablespoon of the reduced balsamic vinegar. It could be chocolate reduced balsamic. It could be the lavender, but I don't think I'd like that with the mango. But we just used the regular condensed balsamic vinegar. It's the 4% acidity, and that's what you are looking at. And that Napa Naturals does that, and California balsamic does that. And a tablespoon of that, stir it up. We clink to whatever we're clinking to. We can't wait for a mocktail. And then there's a health benefit because the acetic acid in vinegar, look it up. What does the acetic acid in vinegar do for my health? It does all kinds of things. It helps with blood sugar regulation. It helps with fat digestion and absorption or not absorption. It keeps you from being hungry. It does all kinds of things. So we have that every night before we have dinner. So Kathy Hester, who both Ellen and I have recently had a conversation with, I just spent an hour with her live. She was interviewing me, and Ellen actually interviewed Kathy. Isn't that cool? And then you have another one coming up with her.
Yes,
Saturday.
she's going to interview me
on Saturday or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So watch for that. But Kathy Hester in the bundle has a ebook on vinegars and how she uses them, primarily these balsamic vinegars. And she's going to be talking about mocktails that she makes. So isn't that fun? So tell them about the bundle. Tell them why we're going on and on and on about this thing. And why it is something that is almost a steal. Go ahead.
It really is a steal. So a bunch of people got together. We were invited, and we contributed 1 or more ebooks, and they became part of a collection. A bundle is really just a collection. It's a collection of ebooks, and the width and breadth of topics is amazing. It's everything. There's over 2,000 recipes in the various ebooks. There are exercise programs. There are courses where you literally click on it and you get taken to another site, maybe YouTube, I'm not sure. And then you get to log in and you get to go through that exercise program. There are lectures. There are full books, literally full books, PDFs of books. There's your beautiful course, your course with the recipes and the book. And it's nothing short of a doctoral program, really, in learning how to get healthy. And I would actually highly recommend that you not wait, that you go and you get the bundle, because you know human nature. We say, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it tomorrow. I don't have time right now. I got to make dinner. And we all do that. I'm just as guilty of it as anybody else. But you don't want to miss this, because once March 10th, 11:59 happens, or midnight, really, it's not going to be available in this configuration. These 150 ebooks will not be available. And they're easy to download. And if you have a problem, if you're like, I can't do that, it's too techie for me, call me. Nan knows that I'm happy to help anybody. I helped my sister. My sister ordered the ebook. She was the first one out of the gate on Friday to order it. And then she called me and she said, I have no idea how to download this. I said, okay, well, stay calm. Stay calm. I'll help you. And I did. I helped her do it. And she has literally texted me, called me every single day and said, I can't believe it. This is unbelievable. There's so much in here. I don't even know. I'm going to have my life to go through this. So there's so much good stuff, including, this is mine. 20 delicious Rise and Shine Morning Oatmeal Recipes with Ellen's Healthy Kitchen. And I will tell you that oatmeal was my gateway into creating habits that stuck. So let that sink in for a moment. Oatmeal was my gateway for creating habits that stuck. And I didn't want to have to go through decision fatigue. What am I going to have for breakfast? I wanted to start my day with a boom, with feeling strong. So I just would have the same oatmeal every single day. Michael agreed to it. We just have oatmeal. And eventually, once I got that habit underway and it was really cemented, I started experimenting. And once I did that, my ebook was created, because I'm a creative person anyway. I'm a musician. I love to make things up. I love art. I love the art of food. And so I was able to come up with 20. I could have come up with 80, but I did 20 delicious recipes that are a combination of cooked oats that are sweet, cooked oats that are savory. And if you haven't tried savory, you do not know what you're missing. It's delicious. There's some baked oat recipes, and there's also overnight oats as well, which I never liked until I figured out how to make it in a way that was, for me, was tasty. So that's the way the ebook is. And you can find the link in both my bio on Instagram and in Nan's. Or Nan, maybe there's other ways as well for them to find the link.
Well, if they go to the description, both in YouTube as well as in Facebook, the first line of the description is your link. Second line is my link, and then a description of what you've done. I let that be the tertiary part of what I was introducing, because I figured that if they heard the video, they would know that they want to be able to get a quick access to the link.
So it's easy to access.
And like boom.
Yeah, right, boom. And if you have a hard time, just honestly feel free to get in touch with me. Or the other thing you can do is you can go to the actual website for the bundle, and there's a whole a list of questions, Q&A, and there are instructions for how to do it. And it's really not difficult at all. But if you have a son, a grandson, a neighbor who's young, they'll help you do it. There's a way to do it. And then you have them in your possession on your device for the rest of your life.
Okay. All right. And you know what Ellen is such a techie person. She never would have forgotten this, but I'm here just chatting with her and hanging out as if this is my holiday. And I completely ignored the chat. And I want to say hello to Lydia. She said, hello, Nan and Ellen, and Stephanie Simpson. Hi, everyone. Hi. And Ann Morrison, Sue McCarthy. Hi again, Sue. Hi, Nan. I just ordered the bundle off your website. Looking
Talk,
forward.
talk amongst yourselves. I need to get a cord.
Let me get us both back on. Okay. Sue said just ordered the bundle. So glad to hear that, Sue. Discovering the goodies of it. And Stephanie I saw the post, and I'm so happy for you both, Ellen. And let's see, the only one who doesn't see the, Lydia said, am I the only one who doesn't see the video? That's not good. I don't know how to give you the access to the video if you don't see it.
Did that change, Lydia? Were you able to?
I hope she's found us. What a beautiful story. Dr. Greger recommended 2 tablespoons of balsamic a day. Well, your mocktail can be a morning wake up and a pre-dinner mocktail. I worked for Stephanie Simpson. What else? Karen. It's an awesome bundle. So much to go through. Can't wait to look up your recipes. See, I bought it a few days ago, and that's as far as I've gotten right now. So finish what you were saying and what you were about to do, Ellen. And thank you, people. Forgive me for having missed you all where you are, because Ellen knows. She tells me a thing, and I do it happily, but sometimes I just don't remember to do it repeatedly.
Which is totally fine. And, I think you don't waste time beating yourself up if you don't know how to do something. Go get help.
There you go. All right, take it away.
All right. So I was going to prepare an overnight oats recipe, and it's in the ebook. I'm going to make a slight little change, but let me just turn this so that you can see it better. Let me move my chair and I will stand. Turn this, and you're not going to see my face, but that's okay. I just want to make sure you see the stuff that I'm making. So the recipe is, see, it's strawberry cheesecake overnight oats, except that I'm changing it to blueberry because I don't have any strawberries. I do have raspberries, but I grabbed the blueberries, so that's fine. So here's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to, I'm just going to make it, and then you can get the amounts for everything from the ebook. That will tell you. So we're going to start out with some milk, and the milk that I use is a soy milk. I like this brand, Silk, which is, it's organic soy. I would only have organic, and it's organic unsweetened. And I also want to tell you, let me put this back up for a second. I want to tell you to advocate for yourself at the grocery store. There's one grocery store that I go to all the time. I love it. It's my primary grocery store, but they never have this. I always have to go across the island. I live on a little island, and get it from another store. So about a month ago or so, I went to the customer service desk and I said, I need to speak to the dairy manager. So they came and I did my sweet little, I am so glad that you came. Thank you so much. I love your store. It's the one that I come to most of the time, except, and you probably don't want to hear this, but I go clear across the island to Stop and Shop because they have the soy milk that I want and you never have it. And he was like, well, what soy milk is it? And I said, it's the refrigerated. And I told him, and he said, well, we have it shelf stable. And I said, I don't want the shelf stable. I use it for my yogurt, but I want this refrigerated one. He said, I'll see what I can do. Well, P.S., don't you know, every time I go to that market now, they have it. Same thing happened today. About 2-3 weeks ago, I said I did the same thing, but this time with the produce manager. He came up and I said, I love your store. I shop here, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, but you never have fresh organic kale. Never, ever, ever. And that's ridiculous. You have other things that are organic, but I need you to get fresh organic kale. So he said, I'll see what I can do. So I went there today and there's fresh organic kale. And I literally went to one of the other produce people and I said, could you please go find the manager? And he thought I was going to yell at him. And I said, no, I want to thank him. And so he went, took 5 minutes. He came and I said to him, I need to thank you. You are my hero. You got organic kale. And I said, now I have one more favor to ask you. Can you please get other organic fresh greens like collards and dinosaur kale? And he said, I'll see what I can do. So you have to ask, and that it's worth doing. It's worth advocating for yourself. Okay. Now I'm going to make the oats.
That was a great story because I've never done that. I've always thought that it didn't matter. Now I know it matters. Thank you, Ellen.
Welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go back here, and I have two. This is for two. I have two pint-sized mason jars, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the ingredients in, except for the blueberries and the toppings. So
you start with milk, then, right?
Yep, I start with milk.
Okay,
it's about equal. Let me just say, I'm such a nudnik. I want it to be. Okay, so I got my milk, and then I'm going to add this, which is Forager. It's organic probiotic cashew milk yogurt, and I'm going to add some of that. I don't have enough. No, you know what? I take that back. I think I do have enough.
Can I say something to anyone who has a Trader Joe's near them?
Yes, they have.
Trader Joe's for $4.99, I believe, has a half pint.
Right.
Cashew yogurt, organic cashew yogurt. That's delicious.
Right.
So it's very well priced.
All right. So I'm doing that. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of maple syrup. And you don't have to do maple syrup at all. You can do date syrup. You can do date paste. You can decide on what you want to do. The other thing you can do too, if you don't want to do that as a sweetener, you can take a banana and you can mash it up, even if it's frozen, defrost it, mash it up, and then you can mix that in, and that's going to also give you the sweet. And if you're even somebody that cares about the sweet, you might not be. Okay, I'm going to put this over here, get that out of the way. I'm going to add some vanilla extract. I get this from I get this big one from Costco. There you go. So I'm just going to add this, and I wish the top of it, where it comes out, was different, because it sometimes comes out really fast, and then I get more than I want. Okay, so I have my vanilla.
Ellen, when you pulled that off, I thought that was tamari or soy sauce. And I thought, wow, Ellen's really creative.
You know what? The savory oats actually use,
yes.
Yeah, you can do that with the savory oats. Okay, yeah. So now I'm going to keep going. I'm going to push this out of the way so you can see what's going on here. All right, so far, the vanilla and the maple syrup turned the milk a little bit, brownish. All right, and then I'm going to add this. I'm going to add some... this is rolled oats. These are sprouted oats that I get from Costco. I can't remember the name of the company, but it's a company. They always have them. They're sprouted. They also have another one that I've noticed lately, but it's not organic and it's not sprouted. So why not just get the sprouted one?
So that is sprouted organic rolled oats.
Yep.
From Costco. I don't know that I've seen those. That's a great combination.
Yep. So I have that. Okay. And then you can put chocolate chips if you want. I prefer having the less processed. So these are cacao nibs. And I'm going to put, just see, I'm just going to put, I love this. I love these. They really have they're very bitter, but with the maple syrup, you don't notice that as much. So there's that. Then I'm going to add chia seeds because we need the omega-3s. That helps to reduce inflammation. And all of us, me, you, everybody here, we all have inflammation. So we all need to do our best to get our omega-3s in. So I'm going to do the same thing. Go back here.
Is that a tablespoon or a teaspoon you're working with?
This is a teaspoon, but I'm using it because I'm putting, I did a teaspoon and a half of that in there. Yeah. And then I'm also going to do some hemp seeds. And hemp seeds are a great source of protein. I'm going to do about the same amount. You can use more or less. It really depends on your taste. Okay. And then I'm going to grab a spoon. Let me get that from over here. And I'm just going to mix it up. I want to mix in the yogurt like that. And then the only other thing I'm going to add, and it's not in the recipe, but I'm punting a little bit here, is, I've forgotten how much I love cinnamon, and I think cinnamon would really be good. So I'm just going to use this Penzeys Vietnamese cinnamon. And I'm going to just put that a little bit in here. I'm not even measuring it, just putting the cinnamon in. Going to mix that in. And it's a little thick from the, excuse me, from the yogurt, which is good. Okay. And then now I'm going to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, hold on a second, because I need to get this. If you've not seen one of these are the coolest things. This is it's a collapsible, what do you call this thing? A
Strainer?
Strainer, thank you. It's collapsible, it's silicone. It's wet because it was over in my drying rack. And this is collapsible. So I put it in my dishwasher, and then to use it, I just go like that.
Brilliant.
So, isn't that great?
Yes.
So I'm just gonna do, I'm not really, the recipe calls for 8 to 10 strawberries. So I'm just gonna sort of wing it and see if this works. This is probably about a cup, and I'm gonna wash them. I want to make sure they're nice and clean. And then I'm going to shake them a little bit. Okay. And I'm going to get my towel. All right, now I'm going to take these and I'm going to pour them in here. Try not to get them on the floor. Little Julia Childish here. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some. I told you I'm punting a little bit. It calls for walnuts, but instead of walnuts, I make my own granola. It's sweetened with bananas, and I'm going to put that in. Excuse me. There's usually another one following. There we go. Okay, a little bit more because you never have too much granola. And that's it. I'm not going to mix those in. And then I'm going to, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put lids on these, and I put them in the refrigerator. And tomorrow morning, when I get back from the gym, boom, we have overnight oats. There's so many other things you can do to it as well. I could have added shredded coconut to it. If you really want chocolate chips, you can add chocolate chips. I would only do it if it were vegan. Somebody said they loved coconut nectar. Yes, you can use that. And yes, the cashew yogurt is oil-free. I have to say, where did I put where did I put it? Oh, here it is. The one thing about this yogurt that I do not approve of, to be honest with you, is that it's got coconut cream in it. And that adds a fair amount of fat to this. But I don't heat this up, Sue. This is cold. It goes right in the fridge. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. I normally don't use this, but I didn't have homemade yogurt. I always have homemade soy yogurt, and I just didn't have it. It's actually in my soy milk, my yogurt maker right over here. And it'll be ready tomorrow. And I suppose I could have waited. Now that I think about it, I could have not put the yogurt in, and I could have waited till the morning and just added the yogurt to this. But the yogurt makes it nice and thick. So, I am not such a perfectionist that everything has to be absolutely perfect. There are going to be situations where, okay, so I make a little bit of a little modification that might not be 100%, but I do try. I would say 99 and 9/10% of the time I stick to this, but this has a little coconut cream in it. So there you go. So Kite Hill, yes, and I looked for that, and my market didn't have it, and I looked for what's the other one? There's another. Oh, Silk. I looked for Silk, and they didn't have that either. I guess I got to talk to the dairy manager again, let him know. So, how do you make the soy yogurt? Oh, so I have 2 ways of making it. Can I go into that, Nan?
Yes. Yeah. You're getting the chat before I do.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah. I thought, how is she getting this? And then the Kite Hill popped up and the heating it popped up. So you're getting your chat first. That's cool. I'm glad to see that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So there are 2 ways that I make my homemade soy yogurt. One is in the Instant Pot. I pretty much follow the same strategy. And the other is in this, and this is a great tool. This is made by Cuisinart. I think I got it on Amazon, and it has a container in it. And you take the container, it's a large container that fits inside this cavity. And I put in a quart of soy milk, and it has to be soy milk that is unadulterated. All it is 2 ingredients, soybeans and water. That's it. And I only want organic soybeans, because soy is a crop that is sprayed like crazy with chemicals. So you want only organic. So what I did was the container comes out. So I take the container, I pour in the milk, and I actually used 2 tablespoons of this as a trial. I usually use probiotic capsules, 2 of them, that each have 50 billion probiotics and all the different long list of probiotics. And I let it go for 14 hours. I click on the start and I put 14 hours. And right now it's been in for 4 hours because it has 10 left. I like 14 because I like it nice and tart. And that's all. Now with the Instant Pot, what I do is I mix that up in a large glass jar, a pourable one. I mix up the milk with the probiotic capsules or the yogurt, and then I pour it into an empty 3 of these 3-pint-sized mason jars, and I put it inside the Instant Pot and put the lid on. But you don't have to lock it, really. I mean, you're basically using it as a lid, but it doesn't cook. You're just going to click on yogurt and you're going to change it to 14 hours and you let it go. And that's it. Next day, I take it. I have to say it's not as thick as I would prefer. So I have this really cool tool. It's in my Amazon store that I got on Amazon. That is a strainer. It sort of turns the yogurt into like Greek yogurt. And the whey that spills out through the strainer at the bottom, I don't do anything with it, sadly, but I probably should. I probably could drink it. It's from the yogurt. But what's left is thick Greek soy yogurt. So that's how I make it.
Wow. And how often do you have to remake it? How often do you go through it?
Probably every 10 days or so. It's
Okay.
so easy. You know, I can do it in my sleep now. It's so easy, and I love having it. And I'm sorry I didn't have it because I ended up having to use this.
Yeah.
But I knew I was doing this, and I knew I was going to want to make overnight oats with you, Nan. So I did compromise and I got this.
I'm going to join you there. And I heard you in your interview with Kathy Hester having a conversation about making soy milk. And you seem to understand what the machine she had is. And apparently you have a soy milk making machine. Do you want to talk to people about that? And how often? Okay, let me tell you my reservation in case anybody else shares this. I think to myself, I already have so much to do to make sure we always have sauces, hummus, salad dressing, meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner here, that I think I would shoot myself if I had to make sure I always had the milk, because we go through a quart, at least. It's sometimes like a quart and a half, but it's at least a quart of soy milk a day. I get mine from Trader Joe's. It's $2.19. It's nothing but organic soy and water. And so it's not a big deal. I buy it by the case. As a matter of fact, we were there on Saturday and I bought another case. So tell me about that. How often do you make it? Do you feel like shooting yourself? Or is it something that's a joy because it's so much better than anybody's carton milk? Go ahead.
I do not do it on a regular basis, a little bit out of laziness and because it's so easy to purchase, you know, this soy milk. And this has B12 in it. I do make it, but I also always have to have soybeans in the house. And I just haven't ordered my soybeans. So, but it's fairly easy. I bought mine from Facebook Marketplace, and I think I paid $20 for a machine that's 80 or 100, something like that. And it was brandy new. And just, I questioned the person. I just want to make sure it's in good shape. Yep. And when I picked it up, it looked like new. She just basically never used it. Yeah. And so it's called Soy Bella is the one that I have. And there are many different kinds. If I were to start again, I'd get the one that Kathy has.
Yeah. I was going to ask about that because Kathy inferred that soy milk is best when it's heated to a degree that it doesn't have its grassiness anymore, or it's I'll call it maybe too fresh of a flavor. And apparently hers will heat it so that you don't do a second step, because she recommended soy bella then be heated. She said hers heats it, but on the other hand, if she's making a oat milk, you don't want to heat it because a heated oat milk
Right.
becomes sort of slimy. So what is the one that she had?
It's Miomat, I think, Miomat, and I'm not positive.
Oh, okay.
The soy bella does heat it.
Does it?
It
Oh,
does heat it, and I have to say, it actually tastes sweet. I don't put any sweetener in it, but it has like a sweetness to it that the commercially available, shelf stable, or even this one. And I will say that for those of you who are a little reluctant about soy milk, when I first started drinking soy milk, I hated it. I hated it. It's an acquired taste. Now I love it, but
me
it took a while. Your palate adjusts. It just changes to it just changes over time. In it. So
Does that carton also, because it sounds like it's fortified, does it also have garum gum and xanthan gum, or any
it,
gums at all?
oh boy. Um, it has Gellan, Gellan.
Oh, gellum,
Yeah.
or gellum.
It has natural flavor too. And I, when I'm not feeling lazy, well, I will also tell you, I also have this.
So somebody had asked how you make soy yogurt. If you didn't answer that fully, you can kind of explain it. Oh, there's the Trader Joe's one. I love theirs.
Do you know that you noticed that they changed their
Yeah. Well, one day I went in and I said, I can't find your soy milk. And she pointed. It was on an end cap, so they fooled me. But
well,
she pointed that we
also
changed it.
it changed the amount of it has less protein in it than the prior.
Okay, the prior was 9 grams of protein for 1 cup.
This is not, I'm sorry, then this is
Oh,
maybe
it's the same then. Yeah, it's the
okay, maybe
same.
they redid it because it's 9 grams for 1 cup. So this is
That's
what I
that's
really
much.
like.
That is as much as a cup of milk, people. When somebody says, "Oh, but I drink milk," or "My kids have to have milk to have their protein," soy is also a complete protein. So it has all of the elements, all of the
Yes.
9 of the essential amino acids.
Also
And if
this.
anybody, what's that?
This
Oh,
is
another one. Oh, the West, yes. Those
love
are
this
so
one.
expensive. They're almost $4 a
I
cup.
know, but you know what?
What?
Some stores, I think Walmart and maybe my Stop and Shop has this in a 64-ounce container, and it's like $1 more.
Interesting. Okay.
And you
Okay.
might be able to get that online. And then this one is also really, really good.
Oh, that's delicious. But that one's almost $5 a
Yes,
quart.
these are they're expensive, and when you go through a lot of them, it's a lot. So you know, I mean, the other thing too is for me is if I have to be completely, which of course I am completely honest, um, my husband is going through some health challenges, and we're constantly going back and forth from our house here in Gloucester to Boston. It's a little bit less than an hour, but it's a schlep. Every time I go, I have to pack up my laptop and all my cords, and I have to make sure I have clean underwear. And, there's like always something. And so I have had to cut back in some ways. And one of them is on the convenience food. So if I have to pay a little bit more, I do, because that's the only way I can get what I need.
Okay.
So when things are back to some sort of normalcy, I suspect that I will start making the soy milk again. It's not hard. It's one more thing you have to do for sure.
Can I have you look at your Trader Joe's soy milk and tell me how many calories? The old one was 90 calories and 9 grams of protein. Has it gone up? Because I just got a note here from Stephanie saying that the calories are higher now. Are they 90 or 100?
100.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, I wonder how that happened. that means because it's nothing but soy and water, so it means they added more water. No, it means that it's more concentrated. In other words, there's less water. Otherwise, we wouldn't have
Hmm.
more calories per.
Hmm.
So, and the reason you prefer your carton to the shelf stable carton is the flavor, because that was a question.
Oh, the reason I like this one better, because it has the B12 in it. But to be honest
Oh,
with you,
okay.
now, the other thing is that, let me get up one more time. I'm going to get you what I take for B12. And I probably don't need to have the fortified. I probably don't need the fortified soy milk. It's certainly more convenient and it's less expensive to buy. It's 64 ounces for probably, I think it's $4.99 or $4.50, something like that. But I love this.
What is that? I can't.
It's made by a company called My Kind, Garden of Life, and it says My Kind Organics. I get it on. They have it everywhere. They have it at Whole Foods. They have it at Wegmans, which is a large, regular, conventional supermarket, and it's B12. And this is it's organic, and this one is, what's the flavor? Raspberry. And this is all I do. I take off the cap and I go.
Is that cyanocobalamin, or is that cyanocobalamin, or is that methylcobalamin?
Oh my goodness gracious! The writing is so tiny. It's got a lot of organic stuff in it. And does it say? Oh, here it is. Okay, it's methylcobalamin.
Yeah, methylcobalamin. Okay, that's some people that say that's harder to digest, but that they think it's a superior.
Yes.
Like Simon Hill
Right.
likes the methylcobalamin. Some people say it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I don't do anything fortified, in case there's somebody else here that is like me, because usually if something's fortified, a lot of times they'll also add folic acid. If you have an MTHFR gene mutation, it means that you don't methylate folic acid. It continues to circulate in your system, and it builds up and it causes problems. It's a methylation problem if you have MTHFR gene mutation, which I have. So I can't buy nutritional yeast that's fortified because it always has folate. And that probably has folate as well, too, because usually they'll do B12 and a number of other things, including folic acid.
This doesn't have it.
What does it have? Just B12?
It has vitamin A, it has vitamin D2, it has riboflavin, vitamin B12, and vitamin C, I think.
Oh, nice.
One of the things that doing all of these interviews has been one of the many benefits is that I've learned something with every single person that I speak to. And this is reminding me that I don't need to use this. Even though I bothered the dairy manager about it, I don't need to use this because I was using it primarily for the B12.
Yeah.
But I take B12, and I take enough. I know I do. And not only that, this, we can all learn, right? I have not been paying attention. This has natural flavor. I'm trying desperately to eat nothing that has natural flavor, because natural flavors, what is that? It's made up. It's in a chemical lab that somebody makes to make things taste a certain way. Well, hello, I don't want that. Don't touch my food.
And Liz said that she had the Soybella and just loves it.
Yeah. Do you want to see what it looks like?
Oh, how is our time? Well, I've got a little time. We're at an hour, but if people want to hang on, just go ahead and grab it. Because I'd like to see what it looks like.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, Liz, that you use it on it costs a lot less than the Miomat, Miomat, and that you like it.
I didn't take out the accoutrements that go with it, but this is it.
So how much does it make? That's not a quart, is it?
Oh yeah, more than that.
Really?
It makes a lot.
Oh, well, see, a quart would last us 2 days. Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't have to commit hard.
Well, you know what? Now that we're talking about it, I will get soybeans and I will make it, and I'll let you know how much it makes.
Okay.
The meal mat might be easier. I would watch videos. This is a little bit of a, putchki, a little bit of a process to, you have to fit the beans. You soak them. You have to fit them into the little cup, and then you have to screw in the motor thing that's got the blade on it. I can do it. I learned how to do it. But if there were an easier way, and even if it were more expensive, I might, if money weren't an issue, but if it were, I would say just get this one, or the Soy Joy.
It's a cutie. It just looks on it like an old-fashioned
Yeah.
coffee pot.
So,
Is there anything else anyone wants to say as we wrap this thing up? Go back to the bundle. Is there anything more that you wanted to say about what you've discovered in the bundle that is something that should not be missed?
oh, well, I'll tell you what, every day I discover something. So yesterday's big discovery was in chef. Okay, hold on. It's coming to me. She made the Japanese bundle. There's Japanese.
Yin,
Not yin.
raw.
Oh God, I have so many words in my head going through my head. She's the one. She's the chef from Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah. I was watching that today, and I can't even remember her name. You know what's marvelous about this? We're learning about people whom I didn't know because they didn't fall in my radar of maybe even food things. The Japanese raw chef, right?
Oh yes, I did an interview with her. She's amazing.
Yeah, I heard part of her interview, and I thought, oh, that's one more thing that I want to learn to do. I mean, there's just, you know what I decided? Okay, I'm 73, and one day it just dawned on me, because there were times I thought, okay, what am I going to do for the next 30 years? Hear that? Next 30 years. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, oh, thank gosh, I have time to learn a million things, because that's what I want to do. I want to learn to learn.
Yeah, no, I want to keep learning too.
And bring on raw Japanese.
Chef,
I heard her, and it sounded great.
Chef Julia Dunaway, and her book. First of all, I'm a big Asian food is probably one of my favorite, really my favorite cuisine. And she has a recipe in there for Japanese greens. Did I tell you
about it? So tell them, and then we'll wrap this up. Go ahead.
Game changer. I came home from the gym, and before I had my oatmeal this morning, I made them again. I had them yesterday. I'm going to make them at least once a day, if not more.
What greens are you using? Because they could be anything.
They could be anything. I happen to have kale. I have fresh kale. So I use that. I would use collards. I would use dinosaur kale. I would use anything. You can use it with. I actually looked for the power greens, but they only had a small container of it, and I wanted to have the big one. And I usually can get it at Costco. I just haven't seen it. But in any case, you basically take I don't want to give the whole thing away because she has amounts in there, but you basically take the greens and you put them in boiling water for 30 seconds. You take them out, you put them in immediately, and you can't wait. The timing is important. You put them immediately in a bath of ice water, and then you take them out and you squeeze them dry. And then you add some other ingredients. I'm not going to tell you because you got to get the bundle. And it was mind-blowing. They're delicious. They're so good.
Ellen and I were having a conversation yesterday, and she was saving my bottom again because I was stuck on some tech thing. And as she's talking to me, she's eating these greens that I wanted to reach over and grab. And she was chewing with vigor and enthusiasm and saying, these are so amazing.
They are. They're just, I'm going to have them every day now. As a matter of fact, I made a story today. I don't think I've posted it yet, where I said, I am going to eat these greens this way for every day for the rest of my life. Okay,
one quick question, and then we really have to wrap it up. Sometimes people see an hour and 15 minutes and they'll go, click, I'm not doing that. Right. What's my question? Oh, is spinach too delicate for that? In other words, bagged leaf spinach, because I can't imagine you that because it's so delicate.
No, I don't think it is, but I do think you have to be careful about spinach because of the oxalates in it. Yeah. I have a very dear friend who has issues with kidney stones, and she has to be very careful with spinach. So I'm not saying to not eat it. I do. but it's not my only green of choice.
Okay.
I really try to change it up. So anyway, I want to say thank you for having me as a guest.
Well, I want to say thank you for being such a good guest. Hi, Michael, back there.
Oh,
And
Nan, we're online.
oh, hey, Nan.
hey, Mike.
I told them all the people that are on there. I told them all the ring story.
She told us you put a ring on it, Michael. I'm so impressed.
I did. I'm in the clear now.
Okay.
I'm off the hook.
Some guys would say on it.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friend and for being such a knowledgeable person. And thank you all for being here. Those who are on now, those who will be watching this, you got a lot of lives to choose from this bundle week. And so thank you for joining us. And Ellen, I'll talk to you soon. Hang on for just a sec as I end the stream. And take care, everyone. Have a great day, because you know what? I'm going to. Bye-bye.